So I'm going to read the piece I submitted to Beyond Worship called Learning to Delight in My Queerness. Growing up, I was taught to hate my queerness. I was told I was an abomination to God, that my queerness was offensive to God. In order to love God, I needed to make a choice, my faith or my queerness. I spent many nights in anguish, praying to God to make me the perfect, straight, submissive, cisgender woman. I spent most of my days pretending to be that perfect woman. I wore knee-length skirts. I kept my messy and tangled hair long. I prepared myself for marriage to a straight man by trying to be less opinionated and loud. I read the Bible and prayed every day, and I attended services multiple times a week. And yet, I often felt like a fraud. God knows the heart of every person, my pastor frequently preached, which meant that God knew that I was faking it. My faith was slowly killing me, exacerbating my mental illness and leaving mental and physical scars on my body. Finally, I decided I had to leave my faith or else I would allow myself to be so overcome with despair that I would die. But leaving Christianity and God behind pains my soul. My love for God was real. God was the reason I got up in the morning. My faith wasn't just a phase, but a core part of my identity. And to leave that part of me behind felt like abandoning a key part of my soul. After leaving my childhood church, I frequently asked myself and my peers, could I be Christian and queer? The answer I often received from both Christians and from my queer peers was, absolutely not. I had to choose one or the other. But how could I choose between the faith that gave my life meaning and purpose and my queerness? I was told by so many people that my queerness was a barrier to my faith and my faith was a barrier to living an authentic life. In a desperate bid to save my faith, I attended seminary. There, I met queer professors, students, pastors, and future pastors who showed me that faith and queerness can coexist. Their lives proved that my faith and my queerness could illuminate each other. There was the dean of students at the seminary who was ordained and openly spoke about her relationship with another woman. My transgender peers challenged my patriarchal notions of God. Who was I to say that God was only male? Was I to limit God? Seminary taught me to embrace all aspects of my humanity. My peers and professors assured me I didn't have to choose between my faith and my queerness. I could both love God and love myself and all of my queer, non-binary glory. In fact, they showed me that God didn't just accept me, but God delighted in me. My queerness wasn't a curse sent to me by Satan to dissuade me from following God, but rather my queerness was a gift from God. My queerness allows me to experience God in ways that cisgender, straight people find difficult. My being non-binary is a reflection of a God who transcends gender identity. God is male, female, neither, and everything in between. My queerness is an expression of God's expansive love, a love that doesn't discriminate based on race, gender expression, or sexual orientation. My intersectional identities, queer, non-binary, and Latina, also allow me to experience in very tangible ways the God of the marginalized. I experience on a daily basis the God who became human, not to rescue humanity from eternal torment, but to usher in a world where violence, oppression, and hatred are no more. The God who sides with the oppressed or marginalized became human, became one of the oppressed and marginalized. God became one of us. My queerness doesn't separate me from God, but rather it brings me closer to God. So yeah, that's what I wrote and submitted to this book. Y'all should check it out because there's a lot of great works by other fantastic people.